Hey guys, Sentinel CL, otherwise known as Lefko here, and we're going to be starting off our review of the iControlPad. The iControlPad is made by the same crew that are making the Open Pandora Linux-powered handheld. It's more or less considered the Porsche of the open handhelds. Rather expensive at about, I believe it's $500 right now, but probably the most powerful open source handheld on the market. This is a lot cheaper. It's only the controller. It's $75 plus shipping. If you live in the US, standard shipping is $25, and I believe UPS is a bit more. So let's get this started, and let's check out what you get whenever you order. It comes in just a standard box, rural delivery airmail. I ordered this February 28th. According to Google, it shipped out March 16th, and I received it today, the date today, April 11th. However, I was told that even though they said it had shipped, there was a issue with shipping that had actually only processed the order, and it shipped a week or two afterwards. However, you know, they're going through a lot of stock right now, brand new product, everyone's ordering it, so it's kind of halfway understandable. What you receive whenever you open said box from earlier is a small computer cable package which holds a mini B USB cable, this one here, that type. Your receipt here, it's more or less just a printed piece of paper. A quick start guide, which is just a few pages telling you the basics of how the setup is on it. My favorite line here at the bottom on the precautions, and I read it here because you probably can't read it on the video. Do not attempt to eat the iControlPad unless you are a robot who feeds on electronic devices. Once again, they wouldn't put it as a precaution unless someone's tried it. You get the sides for the iControlPad. The default shipping ones are the medium side clamps for it. They do plan on making small and large side clamps, which I don't have yet obviously, but they're not manufacturing them yet. They're down the road. And then finally the iControlPad itself. It's just a basic Bluetooth controller. It's compatible with most any Bluetooth devices. Got a jailbroken iPod or iPhone, it'll work with it, and almost any Android phone or device it'll work with, along with your standard computer or laptop. Looking closer at it, what we're going to have here, you have a 8-way D-pad, 4 face buttons, 2 analog joysticks, a start and select button. Start also doubles as the power button, as you can see there. And then lighting up is the green LED telling you that it's lit up and powered on. Below there, not lit right now, you might be able to see it, in between the 2 analog nubs is the charging LED. Then on the back we have left and right. They're not really shoulder buttons, but they operate similarly, and they're on the back there. So that's pretty well it for the setup. These clamps here clamp into the sides of the unit. And then from there you more or less put on one of the side clamps and you get your device, whichever you plan to use. For the first and few parts of the review, we'll be using a second generation iPod Touch in a small gel case, which actually gives it a bit of a firmer fit. Later parts of the review will be focusing on an Android phone as well. So, more or less this thing has a huge variety of methods to connect into whatever device you plan on using. Go through the quick start guide to actually fill you all in here. There is SPP mode, which is a default mode, HID keyboard and mouse, HID joystick, HID mouse, A and B buttons, HID keyboard, which is a special experimental packet mode, and HID gamepad. It defaults to SPP mode. However, if you feel like using it in a different mode, all you gotta do is power it on while holding one of the face keys, and it'll tell you in the quick start guide here which button to hold to activate which mode. So to pop this thing in, it's usually best to take your first side and go ahead and lock it in. And on the back here, there's a small slider, if you can see that towards the middle there. And that slider locks in the position. Then from there, you take your phone, your iPod, your device, whatever. You set it in the top section there like so. Then take your other side and lock it into place. This is rather difficult to do with one hand while I'm holding the camera, but we'll make it work. Slide our lock in real quick. Hold on just a moment. Put this down. Alright, sorry for that cutaway there. And there you go. You can see both of the locks are in there. Holding it by the phone and shaking it, it's snug. And it's good to go. As far as the hardware goes, I haven't had a chance to test out the analog nubs. They feel good. However, I haven't had a chance to use them. The buttons are really responsive. I really like the buttons on it. However, I think the D-pad, it's not perfect. The D-pad needs some work. It's functional, but sometimes you gotta give it a little bit of extra pressure going left and right. Up and down feel perfect. Left and right, you gotta give it just a hair bit extra pressure. And part of it could be the emulators I'm using, because I am running on an iPod Touch 2nd generation, an older model. We'll actually look into the Android, which will be significantly more powerful, running on a more powerful processor, and we'll be able to see whether running a more powerful system ends up with a more responsive button mode, because it does connect via Bluetooth. And this is more or less just a preview of the next part of the review, but we'll go ahead and power this on. Load up one of Rakashaki's emulators. There's 3 ported to iOS right now. And the way you connect in his emulators, you want to go to Scan for Wiimote or ICP. Now it does have a timeout of 2 minutes, so we'll have to power it back on. There we go. And then I don't know if you can read in the video here, you want to click Scan for Wiimotes or ICP. Cool thing about his emulators, they also work using Wiimotes. But we'll go ahead and hit that. Take a few moments to let it scan. And as you can see down there, ICP connected. It's good to go. So we can go load game. I've got Newtopia loaded up on here. I'll try to move this in an area where you can see what I'm hitting. But you can tell that the responsiveness, it takes a minute for the Bluetooth to actually fully load up, but it is functional afterwards. His emulators so far do not use the analog nubs, although he has claimed that they will be updated to using nubs. As you can see, buttons are really responsive there. You can use your other 2 buttons to bring up the menu. So overall, it's a really great workable solution for people who are wanting to, you know, go out play their retro games, but maybe don't want to buy a Pandora, don't want to spend the $500. If you already have an iPod Touch, if you already have an Android phone, this is a really great second way of being able to play your emulators and whatnot without having to go out and buy a $500 Pandora. On top of that, it's upgradable. The firmware, of course, is upgradable, but your phone and your iPod is always upgradable. So you can constantly be upgrading your memory, your CPU speed, and whatnot without having to worry about the device itself being antiquated. There's no issue with that, because all you have to do is upgrade the phone itself. The iControlPad can be upgraded via firmware flashing, which makes it a really great deal and an easy way to upgrade your gaming system while still keeping your familiar controls, and you can actually save money in the long run. So stay tuned for part 2. In part 2 we're going to go in depth with some of the emulators, check out the response times on an iPod Touch 2G, and more or less just see how it goes. So far, the 3 emulators that we're going to be checking out for iOS have all been put on here by, I believe his name's Rakashaki, over on the iControlPad forums. He's had 3 come out so far on here, NES.emu and the NES emulator, PCE.emu, a PC Engine TurboGrafx 16 emulator, and SNES 9XEX, which is a Super Nintendo emulator. So stay tuned, and we will be checking them all out in the next part of the iControlPad review.